The Otzros Chaim continues by explaining that the pathway to recognizing and connecting to Hashem is always in the darkness. That's the way a person can then create the revelation of greater light. Because the key to serving Hashem is through Malchus, which is the lowest one of the Spheros, the one in which there is the greatest darkness, and to reveal Hashem's presence in all situations and all aspects. Because Hashem wants that we should recognize his presence constantly. And therefore, even though Hashem is the epitome of mercy, but still he sends to us periods of darkness so that we should learn to connect to him under all circumstances. And then even within the darkness, that we should learn to see Hashem's hand and recognize that everything is for our good. That when the concept of Tzimtzum is that even when a person does not experience Hashem, on the contrary, what he experiences is darkness, and he feels that the only thing at work are the forces of nature, we need to understand Ein Od Milvado, that there is nothing other than Hashem. And that the darkness itself, and that it can bring us to that recognition, is in and of itself a manifestation of Hashem. And therefore, sometimes what we need to do is dial it back a little bit. We have so much coming at us, especially in the world we live in today, and so many thoughts running through our minds. And we need to just focus very simply on God's existence and God's singularity. And the realization that even if we are currently found in a situation that the experience is darkness, that's still Hashem. And just as Tzimtzum created a darkness that even under the best of circumstances, we do not see Hashem with clarity, this is just a greater process of Tzimtzum that is going on at that time. And I suggest to say something along the following lines. I have darkness. I feel hiddenness. I don't feel you. But I know that there is nothing other than you, and you are here with me. This is only darkness which is hiding the truth. This darkness is a test to see whether or not I recognize you always. Please light up my soul, that I should recognize the godly truth that there is nothing other than you, and that the darkness should not hide you from me. One more point, that when a person is experiencing darkness, and when the person wants to lift himself out of it, yet he finds that the darkness, the negativity is starting to overwhelm him, and all that's going on in his life is leaving him feeling very unsettled, and he feels like it's about to just topple him completely, then he needs to take his mind off of those things and just put himself into a complete and total focus solely on Hashem. Because outside of the space, as we've discussed in the past, in which the Tzimtzum takes place, that's where Hashem's unity really manifests itself. Because there are no creations, and there is nothing there other than Hashem. That's what we mean when we say Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Hashem is one. That's really a understanding which is out of this world in a literal sense. In Kabbalistic terms, It's called Yichuda Ilah, the upper unity, because in order to really experience and comprehend that, we would have to be standing outside of Tzimtzum and viewing existence, so to speak, from God's perspective. But when a person constricts all that's going around him, he kind of shuts out the noise that's all around him. That's when we have the ability to come into contact with that reality which is outside of the Tzimtzum. But that's not where we live. And even if we manage at certain points in our life to touch that realization and that understanding, but we always have to return back into the Tzimtzum, into the void within which there is a place for us to exist. But if we have managed to touch that reality which is out of this world, then we know that the reality in which we generally exist is a tool to reaching and understanding Hashem. And we understand that Hashem is the life of the entirety of creation. He is the one who conducts everything, and that gives us a way to survive within the Tzimtzum, within the city, the hiddenness. Okay, we will pause over here, and Emir Hashem, our next shiur, will be moving on from the concept of Tzimtzum. Thank you very much for listening. Have a good evening. For those of you who are fasting tomorrow, have an easy fast and a good Shabbos.